Beef asks, what was it like working with Vince Russo in creative on a daily basis? How many hours would he work in a week in TNA? Would you have formal creative meetings? Who were his most trusted advisors? How many ideas would he pitch on average every day? So a lot to digest there, but for starters, how many hours would he work every day, Vince?
Well, if we had an 8-hour or a 10-hour creative session, he'd be there during the whole time. I mean, he wouldn't leave early. He wouldn't do this. Then he would go back to his room, wherever he was staying that night. We had the creative session when I was with Vince in Nashville, and he would work on it there. Then we'd come back the second day, and see, nothing was really laid down to the second day. We'd talk it over on Monday and just lay an outline out, and then come back and we'd pick that back up. And then we'd lay the Monday TV out, and we would lay the Tuesday TV out, and then we would follow that. I guess either Jeff or Vince booked the active cards. Say we were going on tour in 2 weeks, and they would write that down, dependent on what we had done on TV. So we would just follow our TV around. And did he have some good ideas? He probably did, but he pitched about, and I've said this before, and everybody's heard me say this, the worst idea is the one that's not pitched. That could be the one. No, but he pitched a lot of ideas, and sometimes somebody can pitch an idea, well, we don't like it. You shit can it. And then 2 days later, the idea could come back, but this time we have a different reference in mind, a different frame. We may like it. So it's according to how it affected the group. It was me, Jeff, and Vince. And Vince would throw something. I would throw something. And Jeff, since he was a part owner, he would have the third round. And he would throw something. Then we would go around again. And I would say, well, I thought my idea was the best. Vince would do the same thing. And then Jeff, we'd let him make the decision. So, and that's the way it went around. Not all ideas are going to sell out. Some ideas are produced just to get a talent over, or to get an angle over, or to get a frame of reference over. These matches are different things for different areas of the card. So if you have a first match and a second match, if you're not going to do anything with the guys in the first match, just let them have a match, a good, solid match. Put one of them over. Doesn't matter. I mean, if the heel goes over, it's kind of a flat ending, but put the baby face over and let's run.
Who were his most trusted advisors or collaborators or whatever, at least in TNA?
I mean, collaborators. That sounds like a World War II, some kind of spy film.
No, it's not like an Axis of Evil kind of thing I was getting at.
And who was the most trusted?
Well, no, who was Vince Russo's most trusted writer or writers or bookers that he would work with and basically take their opinion, or whose opinion was most like Vince Russo's as well?
Well, Vince's opinion is out there sometimes. It's you look at him and you say, you can't be serious. But he is serious. Because he looks at wrestling different. My job and Jeff's job at the same time Vince was wide open. He was 8 cylinders the whole time. My job was to take that power out of the 8-cylinder and try to frame it down to where it had the same power with 4 cylinders. And Jeff did the same thing. And he had and I think he'll agree with it. He wanted it right now. He don't want it 2 weeks. He don't want it next week. He wants it right now. So he had a tendency to get ahead of schedule when he was booking stuff. And my job was to rein him back in. But to rein somebody in is not necessarily disagreement. I would say, wouldn't it be better? Because you get more with, sugar than you do with vinegar. You say, let's rein this back in, because at this point, I think you're like 2 weeks ahead. See, he would have a match, 2 guys would fight outside the ring. Next week, he wants to come back. Instead of a no DQ match, he puts it in a cage. Well, you're 1 week ahead already, at least maybe 2 weeks ahead of it. You don't need a cage. They just fought outside on the floor. I mean, that's the intricacies you go in building the angle. They fight outside, then they do it again, then screw this shit. We're going to put them in a cage and this, that, and the other. And you work it to a point to where maybe somebody gets in, then you put, say, barbed wire on the top to keep them out. But you can only go so far with that angle. I mean, it has only so many arms and tentacles you can go from. Then you have to put somebody over. And I had no problem putting the babyface over, because I would get out of that program. Babyface got beat. There's another babyface in there. But the babyface that got beat, guess what? He didn't forget. And he can come back at any time and beat the hell out of that heel. Then that heel brings, it's here, or, bring the people in they know, people in you think they would be interested in seeing, and you take it from there. Vince always got ahead of himself.